Yes, I think it's 4 o'clock, 4:01. I think there are a few of us to be here. Hello, Elsas. So happy to be here to introduce my fellow Elsa and my dearest, dearest friend, Aslesha. She says, as the poster says, she says she's an accidental entrepreneur. I say I'm a totally reluctant curator. She's been so please bear with me. You know, I stutter, I stammer, I stumble for words. So please be with me. Hi, Kitty. Hi. Um, it's the first time I'm really getting onto a public platform. So anyway, where else? This is the best place to do it, all amongst friends. Yeah. Thank you. Uh, so where do I begin? To start the story of Aslesha, we'll have to go back over 50 years, actually, which makes us, I'm sure, the grandmoms in ELSA. Before 1973, we knew each other. We were friends. We had common friends. And then we joined ELSA. We were in the same group, in the same section. And from there, it's been an amazing, awesome journey with a very, very, very dear friend. And in this last 50 years, I think about 25 years, we've even spent on the same street for 6-8 years, and then in the same building for another 18 years. So it's a very, very strong, strong friendship that's gone through. We've had our children are the very best of friends and husbands, everything. Many, many similarities between Aslesha and me, but a few major differences as well. So to start with, we're both Aries. She's 2 days older than me. She's 26 March and 28th March. So she is my senior, but she is the proverbial ram and the lamb. So it's a perfect thing. We've never had any issues, right? She is 5'9". I'm 5 foot none. That's it. And we're another thing that struck me. We're both, our blood group, for heaven's sake, is O negative. But actually, I think I'm O negative. She's B positive. Yeah. Asha was a university topper. And also, I think Asha's second runner-up or first runner-up in the Miss LSR. Yes. You have to own up to it. And she's an entrepreneur. That's what the whole talk is about. So immediately after school exams, I think the very next day after our final exams, she flew down to Bangalore. She drove to Coorg, and she got married. She got married to the most wonderful person, Madhu. We call him Madhu, he's Madappa. And from there, her journey has begun. I think, as an accidental entrepreneur. And I have an entrepreneur in my life. My husband is an entrepreneur. So there's so many similarities again. Some fun, some very, very hard times. We've always been there for each other. A helping hand for each other. You know what an entrepreneur's journey can be like. Dark days, dismal days, no money, no food, but we are always there for each other. And I think Asha now can come in with your journey, all waiting to hear from you. Take it, dear.
Thanks, Anita. Hi there. Thank you all for joining Anita and me today. On this ELSAConnect. And when I watch am I on 1 minute? Am I there? Okay. When I watch the catch-up episodes of ELSAConnect, I feel very privileged that we are part of this phenomenal group of women and sharing each other's stories, listening to them, makes me realize that there are many commonalities among us, probably why we are also bonded. And in spite of not visiting each other physically, there's a strong bond amongst us and there's a strong sisterhood amongst us. Which is why when Madhuri spoke about cosmic energy, it made me wonder about the similarities Anita has spoken about. It's, as she said, some were exciting, some were scary, and maybe it was because of some cosmic energy playing its part on both of us. When, like Paramita spoke, I'm also a daughter of a bureaucrat, and my upbringing has not only been sheltered and strict, but very controlled right up to my wedding day. Yes. I studied in DPS Mathura, which was a co-ed school. And I was conditioned in my upbringing that business was certainly not our forte. Businessmen, all businessmen cannot be trusted. Ethics may be compromised, so on and so forth. Therefore, I chose to be an IFS officer. I thought I'll become an IFS officer. Dad was in the IAS. I didn't want to be a doctor or engineer, maybe IFS or law. So with this in mind, when we went, when I finished with school, the subjects recommended for IFS were political science, economics, and history. And in our family, tuitions, coaching classes, those days was a taboo. It was totally out of bounds. Next. Oh, now what do I do? That is, okay. Okay, it's okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
So, okay. So after being a, after DPS, going to an all-girl college as a day scholar, Anita will tell you, well, the rest of my classmates were thumbing to CP, thumbing to GK. I, like an idiot, was catching the silly DTS bus and minibus and heading home to and fro, not visiting anyone, no CP, GP, nothing. So controlled and regimented my lifestyle was. And those journeys up and down to and fro college were most horrendous. Maybe that's what helped me face obstacles in life later on. Few months before my final exam, my marriage was fixed, and mine is an arranged marriage. Madappa is 14 years senior to me, and we met only once. We exchanged letters, trunk calls. Even that stopped 1 month before the final exam because I was supposed to focus, do well. But 2 days after my exams, as Anita told you, I was married in Coorg. So flew from Delhi, got married in Coorg, and followed Madappa to remote towns in Andhra Pradesh, where he was working in ITC. He quit his job about a year and a half later. We relocated to Delhi, my hometown. I was super excited. Both our children were born there, a daughter and son. By the time our son was 6 months old, he said, pack your bags, we are going off to Bangalore. So we did that. We relocated to Bangalore. I hated Bangalore for many years after Delhi. And while I was trying to adjust, my husband started 2 companies. He is an MBA, double masters. He's an MBA from Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad. So he had this burning ambition to be an entrepreneur. He started 2 companies, one for agribusiness consultants, and we set up a factory in Mysore for food processing. Now that took up a lot of his time, energy, travel. He had, cement was in short supply, times were very difficult. We had to get, see, Anita's nodding, we've been there together, right? So it delays, whatever. So with little flexi time that I had, I used to just manage the admin work in the Bangalore business, which was agribusiness consultants. By the time the factory was commissioned, unfortunately, our co-promoters got impatient. They wanted immediate results. That doesn't happen in business. And we were busy developing the market. So they got impatient and sold off the factory to other food processors in Mysore. With this, we were penniless. We had no savings. We had burnt all our boats. And so Madappa accepted Government of India's invitation to join a public sector undertaking as its managing director. We had to have some income. And by which time our children were in full day school. So I said, okay, what should I do now? And I had no business training. I had no family experience of business. I had no mentor. I had no investor, no partner. And that's why the poster. And that's exactly how I advise others not to be an entrepreneur, not to be a cowboy in the field. Go there, get all your information assimilation done before you jump into the arena. But there I was, like a cowgirl in the field with zero training, no money, nothing. We had no longer a manufacturing base. Therefore, I was compelled to position my business as a merchant exporter. And we were to focus on adding value in the supply chain between manufacturers in India and buyers overseas. This is next to mission impossible those days. There were manufacturers who were producing products. The quality of the product, the technology, the machinery, the packing, the certification, everything was lacking. So that's where, again, my husband stepped in and he took leave. He traveled to some of the select manufacturing, some of the select factories. He camped there with literally the workers on the shop floor and trained them and improved the technology, the packing, and he upgraded the factories. And meanwhile, I helped them obtain various certifications. And that's how some of these manufacturers have been our partners for 4 years. Is strong because the time, energy, information, these are not tangible. And fortunately for us, they respected it. And by the grace of God, we enjoy the long-term business relationship with select manufacturers. At a time when there is no internet, no cell phone, no World Wide Web, no fax machine. Can you imagine how I communicate with an unknown person overseas? Telex machine and hard copies of letters which took 7-8 days even by air mail. Anyway, added to that, corruption in India was at its peak. It was the Inspector Raj. You had to register a company, you bribe. You have to obtain health certificate, bribe. You have to obtain phytosanitary certificate, bribe. Customs, bribe, here, bribe, there, bribe. By the time you develop a market and your product has to factor in all these costs, you're kicked out of the market. No competition. So in this competing in an international arena with so much of hassles, cost of the product, which I cannot charge to the customer, depleting hard-earned money. Government of India declares an incentive for exporters. To obtain it, to get that 15%, you have to spend at least 12% to get 3%.
Yes.
But the buyers knew we were getting 15%, so they would hack our prices, slash our prices down and say, you supplied so-and-so. As a market entry strategy, we had to do everything. It was not easy. And also the dichotomy of a typical working Indian woman, the home, the office, the business, it's a 24/7 activity. That's why the second part of my poster, one part a cowgirl, the other part the graphic with all this balancing of all these things. That's why I thought, let me be different and evolve a poster, fun poster. So to cut the long story short, I established 2 companies. Because of the tax benefits and export incentives, we created ABC International proprietorship firm. And I didn't want to be answerable to any other partners or directors running around for begging them to pump in a little more. Whatever I did would be my responsibility. Finally, ABC International was supposed to concentrate only on exports. I also created another entity called Madappa Marketing Management for my dear husband, because what he started was 10 years premature. His vision, his ideas for agribusiness consultancy, when he started, was not the right timing. So two companies, and over phone, people used to abbreviate Madappa Marketing Management in any case to Triple M. So I said, why not change the name of the company officially and call it Triple M? So we had ABC International and Triple M Consultancy,
Thank God it wasn't.
two entities.
Asha, sorry. Thank God it wasn't. You'd have gotten it.
That too, 3M.
3M. Yeah.
We were there first, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So consultancy is not my forte. I was just keeping a seat warm for him. But we were blessed with some very good projects we did under that company also. It was like a consortium of consultants that I had, MBA classmates of his, agriculture classmates, my friends, his friends, well-wishers, experts. So whenever I managed to develop a consultancy project, I would involve only those consultants relevant to that project, and we would execute it. So we have done some nice work, exciting work for KSFC here, Karnataka Financial Corporation, KSIIDC. Then UNIDO had seen some of the work that we had done. So they commissioned a project for us for working with companies within Karnataka in the agribusiness food processing arena. And we did a lot of work for UNIDO and DENIDA. And we did a very nice in-depth project for Government of Karnataka Horticulture Department to develop a corridor for export of mangoes. So we had to go to the fields, look at mango, the yield, the variety, table, processing, and the entire chain right up to the export of the end product. That was exciting. And but then in all this hunky-dory story, there were some scary moments which I want to share with you. For example, our very second order was to Kuwait. It was a small order and the buyer wanted Arabic notations. We said, okay, market entry strategy, Arabic notations. Though minimum label quantity was enormous, we said, we'll do it. And he wanted it in retail pack, and he wanted it before Ramzan. He wanted XY, so many conditions, attestation by Kuwait embassy. Having agreed, we didn't realize that it's so damn expensive. You have to go to Delhi. The official rate is 15,000 plus. It was really a nightmare, but in spite of it, we did everything. And cargo was the bill of lading to negotiate the instrument with my banker. And what happened? My shipping agent informs me that, sorry, ma'am, the captain of the ship has turned the vessel back. He's unloaded all the cargo in Bombay port. Now, what do I do with a customized label product? I can't sell it to anyone else. Well, that was a setback. We did manage to do a distress sale, remove the labels. That's a different story. Then we realized that the Gulf is the biggest buyer for my product. So we visited the most difficult countries: Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, Dubai. And we went with our product. First of all, they were very suspicious. Here's a woman coming from India. Indian exporters are all suspect. And that too, this is a lady and no burqa. So except no bindi, I would go there. And well, we went there, and I was super excited because some manufacturers in Syria, Iraq, and Beirut had decided, you see, my product, during Ramadan, they do fasting, and tamarind has tremendous therapeutic value. So when they, during Ramadan, they make a juice and they drink it, which works as a coolant in the body. So there is a huge potential untapped. So we made a lot of effort. We went there and developed this. And the Syrian manufacturer was doing RC cola. He was packing RC cola. He was prepared to switch over and make a 2-liter bottle. We were super excited. 300 tons of tamarind I shipped to Iraq. We came back, we started all the shipments, and then boom, Gulf War again, Syrian factory bombed, Iraqi factory bombed, Beirut factory bombed. Can you imagine the opportunity loss? By the grace of God, our buyers survived, but they couldn't buy. But there ended the story of our exports to those countries. But then we were happy that they are alive. Then we decided to diversify to pickled gherkins. My Little Baby, my ABC International, is the first company to enter the Korean market with pickled gherkins. We went from Tamil Nadu to Andhra Pradesh and within Karnataka, identified various growing areas, and we had processors who would pickle it in bulk for us. So my husband traveled to Seoul, and we were truly blessed with that buyer. He's such a wonderful human being. We still remain good friends. And we started a very nice business. 6-7 containers a month I would ship to Korea very peacefully. Unethical practices back home, right here in Bangalore. Give 500 rupees to the customs officer, you get my invoice, the price of the product, the packing, and blah, 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 blah. So fly-by-night operators started contacting our customer. Do you know, that man is so ethical. He would direct all the inquiries to me and say, ma'am, this is what's coming from Bangalore. Well, for some time we managed and survived that kind of unethical practice. But soon my own vendors who were packing for us, my own packers, manufacturers, circumvented ABC International, went directly to Korea and persuaded others to start importing. No problem, it's a free market. What happened was they never bothered to do the value addition that we did in the supply chain. My own employee hired by me used to camp in each manufacturing, in each factory, testing randomly the product, the packing, the quality, the delivery schedule, the service. And that was not followed by others. As a result, 25-30 containers of gherkin shipped from India was lying rejected in Korea, and they wanted us to persuade our buyer to buy it. Why should a man buy what someone else has rejected in a food processed food? So they suffered, and then our business also was affected because of all the unethical competition. At that time, what happened? I happened to be an only daughter. My brother lives in Dubai. My mother had to undergo hip replacement surgery, a major one, the first one. She's had 3 after that. So at that time, I wanted to be there for her at hospital and back home later to put her back on her feet, because she's one hyperdynamic superwoman. And I requested Madappa to oversee my business during that time so I could focus on getting mom back on her feet. And we had an export order of pharmaceuticals to a country in Africa called Benin. African countries, some select countries, even as per ECGC and other insurance companies, we pay a higher premium because they are so dangerous and big cheats living in those countries. Benin is one of them. So we took all precautions. We said, we are not going to ship until we receive advance payment from you. And the day we receive the payment, we're going to dispatch, no problem. So that guy sent us the payment. We submitted it to the bank. The bank said, okay, everything's fine, and discounted the check, credited the proceeds to our account. I paid the supplier. I paid DHL. We air shipped. I was in the hospital with mom, Madappa, my staff air shipped. Can you imagine the shock? 1 week later, the bank informs us that that check was a fraudulent check. They didn't hold us responsible because it was not our fault. Their officer discounted it and credited, we spent it. But the concerned officer in the foreign exchange department was to lose his job. He never approached us, he never told us, but we knew that he was going to lose, his entire career would have been lost because of this one incident, and we felt responsible. It was 25 lakhs worth. I'm talking about 1 or 2 decades ago. And we had only one small property to our name, a site in Sultan Palya. We made a distress sale, and whatever savings we had accumulated, we encashed everything, made good the loss, and settled so that that man's family survives. What I'm trying to say is business ethics will take you a long way. However difficult it is, please practice it. Professionalism and ethics pays. That amount, by divine intervention, he blessed us later. But at that moment, back to pauperism again, back to beggars again. And another huge loss, another big hit we had was 8 years ago, we exported my product to a global company, old customer. For some reason, the payment was not coming. It was not reaching. I had to intervene, and I told them, listen, we're waiting for the payment. What happened? So they sent me the payment advice, and it was some Australian company. I said, who's this? So they sent me another copy, a scanned copy, and they say, look, in your invoice, you say ABC International care of so-and-so, and there's a letter asking us to pay. We couldn't figure out what it was. Apparently, somebody hacked into the payment channel, and it was 28 lakhs, a big amount 10 years ago. 28 lakhs didn't come into our account. And it was the most scary experience that we had. We didn't know where to begin. So we started writing to the Australian embassy, the trade commissioner. They must be getting hundreds of such letters. Anyway, because it was Australia, we pursued. Nothing happened. And then we had to go to USA. Our tickets were already booked. We were visiting our children. And my son was working for McKinsey, and he's advising me. He's saying, Mom, don't bring up that topic when we go there, okay? This is a social call, so don't bring up that topic. I said, excuse me, I've been in business longer than you, so allow me to deal with it myself. So we went there, social call, distributed souvenirs, didn't raise the topic, but they knew we hadn't received the payment. They felt bad, we felt bad, nothing could be done. We came back to India. Soon after that, a close friend of ours, his son is an ethical hacker. Just by chance, I told him to come and look into the system and tell me who is that beneficiary of that payment. Give me that name and address of that beneficiary. So then he not only found out, he also took a picture of that man's house, which is exactly across the bank to which the payment had gone. It was a music band in Australia. Can you beat it? Music band in Australia. So then with that in hand, we again approached the ambassador and the trade commissioner and the trade officer and the Australian government, the Australian police, and gave up after a lot of struggle. No reimbursement from ECGC, no this, no that. We gave up. 28 lakhs down the drain. I don't know. The government and the and our own embassy over there worked wonders. I don't know what pressure they used, what tactics they used. When we had given up everything, every cent of that payment was restored in our account after 2 months, miraculously. Not miraculously, they worked, we worked. But what I'm trying to say is there is a divine intervention also protecting. If you put in hard work, sincerity, always pays. Yeah. 2 years ago, a lorry full of my export cargo in the month of June overturned near Pune, and the entire cargo crashed. Everything lost. I have to face the music with my buyer. Losing that order is bad enough, but losing a buyer is even worse. We lost both. And to recover, when you sign and take an insurance policy, they say 110% value of that you're insuring. So at least you get 99. When you actually go and claim, you realize you get nothing. We struggled, we fought, we did everything, strings we pulled. Finally, some angely 50% we got, and we managed. The worst, another bad experience I've had is when we shipped Sanjay, when we shipped Indian pickles, Kaveri pickles to Singapore. It was on DP basis, payment against documents after you ship. After my cargo goes, Singapore doesn't take long to reach, just a week. After my cargo left the shores of Chennai, that fellow declared bankruptcy and vanished. All your insurances, I've taken ECGC cover, I've taken that, I've taken this, nothing works. They will find a small print why they can't pay you. Well, this guy was of Indian origin and he had a store in Little India. So I flew to Singapore, tried to meet him. He never attended office. Now nobody in the building. I didn't know what to do. My poor son, he was studying in Singapore, student. And I said, listen, if at all you can recover this, help me out. Every 2 weeks he would go there, nothing. So these are some of the setbacks that we have experienced. And in spite of it, we survived, we sustained, we grew. And all these experiences made me wonder why we didn't have an institution, an organization to help potential entrepreneurs, startups. At that time, we didn't. So I joined a bunch of women it's called AWAKE, Association of Women Entrepreneurs of Karnataka. And I'm one of those early birds. And Kiran Mazumdar was there, Madhura Chatrapati, Sudha Prakash, Malti, Padma, each one working out of our respective garages. And that sisterhood, hand-holding, that was so helpful. A check bounce, a non-payment appeared such a exaggerated thing. But when we discussed it amongst ourselves, okay, we'll survive that also. Ye bhi chalta hai. So we used to work out of our respective homes. We used to train potential entrepreneurs with business idea lab, with counseling, and we used to accompany them to the banks and financial institutions. Time up?
Couple of minutes, yeah.
Okay. And things like that. But then simultaneously, I was also in the Chamber of Commerce, FKCCI, Federation of Karnataka Chambers of Commerce and Industry, where I was chairing a committee on human resource development. I didn't want this women kind of thing. I wanted women to be in the mainstream. So women entrepreneurs was part of that umbrella of human resource development. And we had IDBI and SIDBI were looking for an opportunity to fund an EDP, Entrepreneurship Development Program for Women. So 6 weeks EDP was designed at FKCCI. I was involved in it and it was so successful. So I told Awake, let's do similar things so that we earn something. I mean, we have to institutionalize our activity. So what we did, we logged in all the voluntary work we did. At my cost, I used to drive to Awake. At my cost, I used to spend hours together doing whatever we did and helping entrepreneurs. So we logged everything, those many man hours, all of us had logged in, plus these EDPs. And then we approached for land. Government gave us in Rajajinagar. We have a shed. We have an incubator for food processing. We got some funds, international funds. So it was set up. And somewhere in the midst of all this, I wanted fresh cut roses. So I had advertised in the paper for export. Suddenly this man, tall man, Ramakrishna Karturi, walked in with his banker and said, ma'am, how much quantity? Huh?
A minute or so, Asha.
Okay, I'll run. So I was on his board, a global company, Karturi Global, as an independent director, and helped them set up their food processing initiative, drove that business for 18 years for them. And in the beginning, to supplement my income, I also was a marketing consultant for a central government PSU called Bamalori. And since I had a certificate in tourism, I developed their business for travel and cargo in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Every time Anita, remember,
Yes.
every time I got my payment from Bamalori, jump into my Rutford ambassador car to Airlines Hotel. All 4 kids,
yes.
Ice creams, dosas, play on the slides, play on the swings, come back satiated. Yeah. So all these experiences, ladies, made me an agile entrepreneur. And to be one, you have to be improving your skills, improving your efficiency, innovate. And I would like to conclude and say that each one of us is blessed with natural skills to become entrepreneurs. Every woman is a manager. She manages home, she manages people, she manages her funds, she manages production in the kitchen. Everything is there. Just go and assimilate a little more information and just jump into it. If you go on planning, you'll never do it. Just do it. It's exciting.
Yeah.
With that,
actually, yeah, that's amazing.
Timing wise, okay.
I thought I knew everything about you, but I've learned a few more things. Okay. Just one question before I open it up to everybody. Would you do this journey again?
In a different way, differently. Now that opportunities are different, now that the circumstances are different, I would certainly do it in a better way. I would do it in a more organized way. Not the cowgirl, not this jungle juggling with all this.
Brought you to where you are now. It's a happy space. And you're able
it's a happy space. I'm happy now.
Yeah.
But it took a lot of guts to survive.
Absolutely.
But the take homes are that in the beginning, when we were writing letters, no emails, I used to conduct classes in art of business letters, then about business ethics. And the thing is, in Awake and FKCCI, when we train other potential women entrepreneurs, we were there like role models for them to emulate. They had physically, we never had any such thing, you know, just do or die, sink or sail. So, yeah. Girls, that's why accidental, that's why that design of the poster was different. Yeah. It was not a pretty face.
Wonderful, wonderful. Girls, any of you have any queries for Aslesha, for Asha? Anyone would like to ask her? Anything that you might want to know?
It's definitely survival in the true sense. Oh, Anu. Anu, hi Anu. Another Kurg college mate, Elsa, Devika. My cousin.
Radha, would you like to unmute yourself? And I think Farah, you want to ask something. You can unmute yourself one after the other, please. And I'm sure Kiran and Rashmi would also like to come in.
Go ahead. Who's going first?
Anu, I think.
Okay.
Well, there are a lot of similarities. Mine also arranged marriage soon after college, I got married.
Don't I know?
Why is it like that, I wonder?
It
It
was
was
a
like-
sign
It was
of
like that for the parents, so they thought it's the right thing for us. My
Sign of-
parents had 15 years. My mom says, don't forget, I didn't even see your dad. At least you got to see Madhu before your wedding.
Yeah, we also did that, right? It was like BA was a matrimonial degree. We had to do our BA, and the next thing was we get married. That's it.
Fortunately, I think things have changed.
Really?
Changed
Yeah,
dramatically now.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice hearing you, Asha. Really nice.
Yes, Farah, did you have a question for Aslesha?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed listening to you, Aslesha. Such an incredibly it's so interesting to know that I want to know what kept you going. There were such big. Some of them must have been really big downturns. What
They've,
kept you going through it?
Family support. My husband is a gem, and he is like the Rock of Gibraltar. And my mom used to jump onto the train and come and look after the kids if I had to travel elsewhere, out of the country. I remember I had given so many instructions. They have exams. After the exams, take them to Richie Rich, give them ice cream. But during exams, study, okay? And mom was so strict with us, I thought she would do the same with kids. What did she do? She took them and went for movies. And they boasted about it when I came back. So before the exam, movies. And then Anita's kids and my kids were taken to Richie Rich and they all binged. So yeah, family support is absolute. I couldn't have traveled if she hadn't come in. And because Madappa was working, it was a double income couple. So financially and otherwise, he was there to pitch in. Taking loan is a big bad thing for me. I have that mental problem mindset about bank loans for business. So if at all I took, I was in a tearing hurry to repay it. So his support, his mentoring, and he has so much experience. Yeah, that made me keep going.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's personally more incredible because I can't imagine doing anything without technology. So
Yeah.
to do all of that without technology just seems...
Whatever technology we paid and bought, for example, from CFTRI to produce my product, which I'm so passionate even today about, was 15 years outdated.
Yeah.
If you go with a product manufactured as per that technology into the international market,
Yeah.
you were frowned at.
Thank you.
That was amazing, Aslesha. I just want to come in. This is Rashmi.
Rashmi, hi,
It
Rashmi.
was just incredible to hear your story because you never gave up. You kept at it. And no matter what the challenge was, you faced it with full force and with
Like
such
you.
ethical things behind you, which is
Yeah.
so proud of you. So proud
That's
of you.
in our DNA, I think,
I think
because
it's the
women are
DNA.
basically a little more
Elsa
ethical.
DNA. We don't give up. We are fighters, and yet we are always on the, try to do the best we can with whatever circumstance we have. But just to
Right.
share with you, just a few weeks ago, my husband said he had to meet somebody called Madappa. So we walk into Aslesha's house. She was not there when I walked in, and we said hi. And from the back, suddenly came this beautiful tall lady. Said, "Rashmi," I said, "Aslesha." They thought we were crazy, the men, like sisters. We freaked out, and then of course we spent 1 hour together walking around a beautiful apartment. But she's called Auntie Aslesha.
Yeah.
Aslesha
We're
by
that
everybody. Young, old, indifferent, fat, thin, doesn't matter. She's universal auntie. She's full of enthusiasm. She runs that entire neighborhood of hers. They don't do any function without her. She may not be technology thing, but she's taking pictures of everybody.
full of life.
She runs the whole
Lives life to
organization.
the
So don't
Yeah.
think
Thank
she's given
you.
up. She's at it. And
Kitty,
I'm so happy and proud to see her.
Kitty,
Thanks, Rashmi.
Thank you, Aslesha.
Kitty
You're
is
super.
Aslesha, it's absolutely wonderful to hear you. I
Hi.
remember you very tall, elegant, standing out amongst all of us, not just because of your height, but also how beautiful and stately you were. You always had a special presence. And of course, I remember you in your kurg sari because nobody else wore that in our batch except you. So
And I used to travel by DTC in that. Oh God. Oh God.
So we used to all say, how on earth do you wear this? And we used to walk around you to figure out how the sari was fixed.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, Aslesha, I had no idea you'd done so much. It's absolutely incredible. And thank you for sharing it so honestly, both the setbacks and the achievements with so much modesty. Of course, coming from me, my question is very specific, that what were the issues you faced as an early time entrepreneur, as a woman? Because at that time, it was not really, it still is a challenge. It's an uphill task for so many women to deal with a lot of the stereotypes and assumptions about what women can do and can't do and what they should do. I'm wondering if you want to share how you dealt with some of that resistance or...
Cheekily, Kiran, very cheekily. My other, my other title for my poster, as I told Neelu, would have been minding my own business. Why? Because in the Chamber of Commerce, I was shoulder to shoulder in the managing committee with industrialists who were there since God knows how long, grandparents, grandfathers, and so there was this industrialist, and I knew very well that the state of his company was in red. But he had just come back from a European tour, all powdered and expensive perfume. He was sitting next to me in the meeting where Salman Khurshid was supposed to address. And then he went on, acting patronizing. He kept saying, so what's your business? So what do you do? So I got so irritated. I said, I mind my own business. So that would have been my caption if it was not accidental entrepreneur. And after that, he shut up. And then later on, when Salman and I are classmates from DPS. So when Salman had spotted me, as you said, I stick out. So he came down from the dais to meet me, and all the press and everybody was jumping at him. And he said, wait, I need to meet a friend. And then he came up and said, hi, Aslesha, how are you? This fellow's jaw dropped. Oh, you're friend with the Minister of Commerce, huh? Then you can get crores of business. I mean, that's where we are different. And yeah, as I told you, traveling overseas and meeting customers, I do my homework very thoroughly. I know my product very well, and don't allow them to patronize me. And my education in LSR and co-education in DPS definitely were investments by my parents, which evolved me as a stronger person. So I could face, there were...
I think you have a question, and then I'll have to mind it. Satike?
Hi, Aslesha, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. Hey, it's lovely to hear this story, and I'm absolutely in awe of what you've done. I actually understand it from the inside. So yes, because I was on the other side, the purchase and logistics side, over the same period that you were actually selling and exporting. So my question to you was, over the years, have you seen any improvements on the insurance side? Because I hear you saying very clearly that despite all the hard work, all the effort, everything else, there really wasn't enough institutional support to cover risk. And it couldn't only have been you, it would have probably been across the spectrum.
There is still a continued problem. What happened to me and what I mentioned is 2 years ago, not very long ago.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, that lorry overturning, not getting the claims, no reimbursements, and so many processes and, things like that. So yeah, I don't see any change. Neither with the government insurance agencies nor with the private. I don't see any change. And my personal experience. Okay. And that applies not only in my marine cargo, it applies to my husband's health. He's had 4 or 5 heart attacks. He's had so many surgeries. Yeah. When you go for insurance claim, they say cashless, this, that. I mean, ridiculous things are charged on to us, which are not reimbursed, which is totally unacceptable. But then I'm battling alone in that hospital. I don't have the energy to take on that. So to answer your question, nothing has changed. I'm sorry.
I've got Madhulika and I've got Vandana who want to ask you, Asha. Madhulika first, and then I'll introduce Pratibha, I think, and then Vandana.
So Aslesha and I don't need introduction. We know each other from
DPS and
DPS.
She's my
We didn't
junior.
know you are my senior, but yes,
Yeah.
we share another alma mater.
Yeah.
But yes, Aslesha, hats off, because I know about your business because we've talked about it at some point. And I've been in international business. It is tough, but I was with a corporate, not my own money. So, so I don't know, but that must have been a major challenge. Yeah, and it still continues, because till April I was in that business. No insurance comes for years, and you forget finally whether you need that little bit of money that they'll finally give. And
It's just on paper.
yeah. All the best. And also the reason I wanted to speak was Mr. Madappa and I have met so many times. He's attended a couple, maybe 1 or 2 ELSA events also. And you have to see a man young at heart. It is him, you know. So
True.
Vandana?
Ditto.
Yes, yes. So, Aslesha, I think your poster was very apt because you've actually taken the bull by the horns, if I may say it, you know.
That's not a stuffed one, it's a live bull.
And we could see that, right? And after what you sort of shared with us, it's been one after the other one. I mean, I lost count of how many times you actually really reinvented yourself, and the resilience and you know, the gungo spirit. I think it's amazing. It's something everybody should learn from.
Thanks.
And I want to admit here that, you know, I was Aslesha student at the Wake program many moons ago when, you know, Asha was just 2 years old. And I think it was the second batch of Awake. And Aslesha, you know, taught between her trips to the US, I think. So she came for some lectures, then she was away, and then she came back. And so gracious, tall, elegant, you know, it was such a delight. And I remember that, you know, the tamarind paste, somehow I never heard, you know, having come from the north, or that you could actually buy tamarind paste in tubes and in bottles and stuff. So thank you for sharing this wonderful journey. I never realized also that there were so many stepping stones to where it is today. Thank you so much, Aslesha. Yeah, such an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana.
I think I have to invite Pratibha. She's, where is Pratibha? Pratibha, would you like to come in and
announce the next speaker?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Anita, and thank you so much, Aslesha. You know, your talk just made me realize I need to worry less and I think be more courageous in life. So I am so glad I attended this. So for Saturday, we have another wonderful ELSAConnect session, and this time we'll be having author, writer Revti here. Revti Suresh. Hi, Revti. All right, so for those of you who might not be knowing Revti, she published her first book, Jobless, Clueless, and Reckless, a title you know, that she feels really sums up her life, in 2013. And we did have a book reading with her earlier, a couple of years back around that. Very recently, she's published the sequel, which is In Now and Then. It was published during the lockdown. Now, prior to that, Revti really has been, you know, she's worked in the world of books quite a lot, from editing to understanding how books are made. And she's even written a biography for someone, I think, who had passed away 20 years before. She had to write the book. So, and magazines, etc. She's worked with the government of Karnataka in books. But what the session is really going to be is about Revti's search for expression. And why is that so? Because she calls herself, you know, an introvert who's always found it a little difficult to express herself in this field, in this world that is otherwise very social, right? And we're not just talking about, you know, social media today, but the world is ultimately, man is supposed to be a social animal, right? And so this talk is really going to be about her search for expression, her search of constantly, her journey of constantly doubting herself, of never really quite believing in anything about herself, And I'm sure that, you know, during that journey, many of us probably will be nodding in silent agreement as she shares her, you know, her experiences and her feelings with us. So I will not take up any more time, but please do attend the Connect session on Saturday.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's going on to 5. It's just been an awesome talk, Asha, we've had with you. I've learned a few things which I thought I knew everything about you. But I have picked up a few. And here's to more ELSA talks attending. This is my first. I hope to attend many more.
Thank you.
Neelu and where's Tanya? Thank you all, Vandana, for hauling me in.
Thank you, Anita.
So I think we are not live now, very soon. And if you want, we continue for a few more